it probably didn't help, and nobody wakes up in campaign world hoping that they'll get a tweet against them from the President of the United States. But I think it begs the larger, dynamic that played out in this race, which is simply, are you for Trump or not?
Well, it wasn't quite that simple. Mark Sanford did lose, and the President of the United States, the very morning of the vote, did tweet against him here, but it wasn't even close. He lost fairly clearly to Katie Arrington, who joins us right now out of Charleston, South Carolina, the Republican congressional nominee for that district. Ms. Arrington, welcome to you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir. An honor to be on the show today.
What did you make of what he was saying, that essentially Donald Trump lost him this?
And we all in South Carolina thank Mark Sanford for the past 24 years of service, but it's enough. This was not just about the Trump factor. This is about a hardworking campaign. It had a lot to do with the fact that saying no continuously doesn't solve problems, that we need to have somebody in Washington who's going to work to get the problems fixed in this nation. And it's actually just kind of disheartening to see him continue on about this. Trump is, he's gone so far in the past few days. It's just enough. Stop now. It's okay.
All right,
move on. We've got bigger issues.
But what's interesting about it is 90% of the time or so, he was aligned with the president. And I guess because he made a big dust up on, among other issues, the trade thing, that got the president's ire. Now, there might be other factors. I would imagine there were. But there are plenty of Republicans who have serious issues with the president's tariffs policy and how that could boomerang. Are you afraid, I guess, what I'm saying, that if you were elected, that you've got to toe the Trump line?
So, the towing the Trump line, let's talk about this. Mark Sanford went on, CNN how many times to bash the president and call him, he did make it personal. He was very personal about the president. He was one of the few Republicans to get up and bring up the Stormy Daniels story. Blame the president for Steve Scalise's shooting. He said he was culpable. So, no, I think that you can't always agree with everyone. This nation is founded on debate and conversation. But the problem with Mark Sanford is that he can't get into the table, a seat at the table with the president, because he's been so offensive. It's one thing to have a disagreement about policy. It's another thing to go personally attacking someone on, national TV time and time again. We need to move beyond that. The tariff issues that we're talking about now, I would hope that I could have a conversation with the president. But, as a nation, I think we need to kind of take a step and for a minute think this is the world's best negotiator. All the things that everyone has been categorically terrified of, North Korea, he's going to bring us to nuclear war. He's managed to navigate that. I'd like to see what he does in the next few weeks. But if it's something I disagree with when I get to Washington, I absolutely will have a discussion with the president, a respectful discussion with the president.
Well, do you agree with his approach on trade?
Right now, I come from a community that needs help with steel and aluminum. So, of course, I'm going to look out for the people of South Carolina. We had a bridge actually malfunction here. We had a bridge break. The cable snapped. And thankfully, we had a company right here, Standard Tech Manufacturing in Somerville, that was able to fix it because they had the steel on site. So I absolutely am going to be about, South Carolina first. But the President of the United States has a global view. I think that I would need to speak with him before I made any decisions on that.
Now, in the race in the fall, and things have changed and the prospects have, we're told, improved for a lot of Republicans, perhaps yourself included, given the pickup in the economy, certainly given the pickup in the South Carolina economy, particularly in your very district. And I'm wondering if that staves off this, sort of blue wave that everyone was predicting, or there's still enough frustration with the president personally that it wipes out all those advantages. What do you think?
Well, I can say the blue wave is not going to wash on the shores of South Carolina. Our economy is robust. We have more jobs to fill than we have people to fill them. And ultimately, those are the things that people are going to the voting booth and deciding and making their voice heard on. Our nation has never been stronger. Record low unemployment. We have a booming economy. And as far as global peace, we are on a verge of something we haven't seen since, World War II. Let's take a minute and think about the goodness that's coming out of this. And I think that South Carolina was very vocal in this last primary season. And I think that'll continue into November.
Do you want the president to campaign for you, as he indicated he will?
Right now, I am just going on the hard work of this campaign. I appreciate the president's tweet the day of. It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. A lot of the voters had already gone to the polls. But this campaign, to Mark Sanford, sir, this was a hard-fought, hard-won campaign. We knocked on thousands of doors. My campaign pledges, I'm donating $125,000 of salary back every year. I'm term limiting myself, and I'm denying the congressional retirement benefits. That was something that edged out Mark in this because we're tired of career politicians going to Washington and not getting the people's work done. Citizen legislators. That's what this election was about. This was a person, I've worked a hard life. I've started at the graveyard shift at Denny's, all the way to the briefing rooms at the Pentagon. And it was hard work and perseverance by me and a team of volunteers that made us so that we won this election.
You won. Katie Arrington, it's going to be an interesting race.
Thank you so much.
To watch, we'll see what happened. By the way, we did call Ms. Arrington's Democratic opponent, Joe Cunningham. So far, we haven't heard back, but hope springs eternal.